Welcome back. You guys wanted me to do a youth development save where I focus on training, development, getting the best out of our players. The Porto Diaries was a very successful save on this channel. So we're going to return to Porto and we're going to focus on development. Yes, why have I picked Porto? Porto, well, the thing is this. Whenever you do a youth development save, you're trying to achieve certain things. You're trying to get your club to a state where you can depend on the youth that are coming through your system and then they can play in your first team. You get success with them. Maybe financially, you attract some teams who are interested in your players. Well, that's the goal. Now, the challenge is when you're playing with a lower league side. When you're a lower league side and you want to try and depend on your youth players, it's not so easy because, hey, first up, you don't have the best facilities. You need to invest in those facilities. So you can't really, you don't even have the pulling power that bigger clubs have because your reputation isn't there yet. So when you bring in these youth players, they leave for bigger clubs eventually because they're more ambitious. Now, how do you keep those players in your club? Well, you have to become successful first, and then you can start talking about maybe you want to bring them through. Some players will stay in your club. That's natural. And some players will leave. So you're always struggling with that. Finally, you're looking at money as well. You need the money in order for you to become truly successful. So what we've done is the goal of this series is very simple, getting the best out of your youth players. So we're going to jump straight to a club that has got the facilities, the coaches, the staff, so that we can jumpstart the process. How do you apply it to your lower league saves? Simple. When it comes to lower league saves and training, you got to keep it. You got to not overcomplicate things, right? You don't have 5 days a week to train your players. Sometimes you only have 2. With those kind of clubs, generally, those players are not going to stick around. 1-year contracts, that's the best you can have. And then in your second, in your third year, when you get promoted, you're looking at refreshing the entire squad. So youth development saves not very relevant in those kind of situations. You might get 1 or 2 players who are young, but chances are very rarely you're going to find them good enough to start. So we're going straight to a position where you might be in a couple of seasons where you've developed your club, you've got the facilities, you've got the coaches. Now let's talk about developing your players. We've just been offered the job at Porto, so we're looking at it from the very beginning. So I'm going to record a couple of these shows. I'm going to play them offline. Occasionally, we might even stream a few episodes. But the goal here is to do a few episodes and really go through that process really quickly. Now, as you can see, this is a decent club. When I come in, we've got a 4-4-2 staring at us in the face. We're going to go through the process again. Of course, I don't do this very often. As in talk to the staff, creating a tactic. We'll just pick any ordinary tactic from our system and just stick it in. Then we're just gonna continue. Now, at the moment, we're gonna accept the club vision, squad selection view. We're gonna go to the next day, and then we're gonna meet our staff. We're gonna attend the meeting for the first time. Pepe could do now. There are gonna be some players. I'm gonna move. Actually, I'm just gonna end this meeting. Okay, so we're going to just skip the meeting as well. All right, the first thing we want to do when we go into a youth development save is staff responsibilities. So we're going to go to training. We're going to lead the general training for the under-23s, the individual training for all the players, because I want to focus on everything. And then we've done all that. Second thing we want to do is we want to go to staff contracts. We're also going to take control of the contracts because ultimately you want to make sure that you get the right kind of staff into your club. You don't want your head of youth development and your staff automatically going out there and renewing contracts of coaches you might want to fire. So we're going to take over the renewal of all the contracts, renewing. And then the other thing we want to do is transfers and contracts. We want to go to offering to clubs. Now, this is for loans. After a club, he's developed outgoing development loans are going to be for the B team, the senior team. So for the senior squad, we're going to set it for, we're going to do everything here. For this, we're going to do outgoing development loans as well. We're going to set the parameters for this to happen. Playing time is going to be regular starter. And then league facilities all have to be good, right? We don't want to loan players out to clubs that have got poor facilities. Go to your B team, do the same thing. Now, B teams, chances are good as well. We want playing time to be regular starters. And we leave this alone at the moment. Yeah. And then we go to the under 23 team, do good as well. Playing time, regular starter. Under youth, under 19s, playing time, regular starter, good. So we want to set all these up straight away so that whenever we set any players for loans, they go to clubs which have got good facilities. This is important. You don't want to send a player out to a club where the facilities are poor. If the facilities aren't better than yours, then generally you gotta make sure he's playing a lot of games. Otherwise, they don't train well. So you want to make sure the facilities are at least as good as yours. Okay, we've done the contracts, we've set up the loan parameters. Now we want to check out our staff. Mouse over them to find out what their personalities are. Now the thing here is most of these personalities aren't good, right? Why am I focusing on personalities? Now, when it comes to development of players and the kind of players that come through your system, it depends on the personalities of your head of youth development and your staff. The head of youth development affects the outliers. That means the 5 stars and the no stars. And then all the ones in between are affected by the staff at your club. It's very important because a lot of these players, they are in your system already, they're invisible. The moment they become visible, they can be trained in your facilities. Before that, their attributes and their personality are affected by the quality of staff, quality of facilities. So you want to make sure that your staff have the right personality so that you get the right kind of players coming through. See, all your contracts are expiring in June. That's another year. I don't just spend money. That's a lot of money. It's gonna cost us about at least $500,000 just to get rid of all their contracts. That's a lot of money to waste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for their contracts to expire before we terminate their contracts. I'm just going to focus on bringing in staff that have got very good personalities. The personalities I'm after are going to be resolute, model citizen, and perfectionist. What I'm trying to do here is to improve the odds that we get good players, right? There's no guarantee that you're always going to get great players in your team. In the game of Football Manager, the moment you mouse over a player and you can see his attributes, you can see his name, that's a visible player. A visible player's development is affected by the quality of your training facilities and the staff in your team. Now here we've got a coaching team. We've got room for I think about 3 more coaches, 5 more coaches. We're going to get 5 more coaches and improve the quality here. This will definitely affect and the development of our youth players. So we know we have room to get 5 more coaches. Now, I could go and look for coaches straight away, but why don't we do it methodically? Let's look at our squad, our team, and come up with a tactic for the team. Now, the youth team can use a different tactic from your main team. That's not an issue. What I want to do is I want to try and make sure that we are playing one system across the club so that we can bring players in from our youth team into a senior team straight away so that we don't have to kind of change tactics all the time. So we have several tactics that we could possibly use. I'm just going to put one of my old tactics from FM22 in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at our players and see whether they can fit into our system. So we're going to quick pick straight away and see what we have. We've got, he's okay in terms of finishing. We've got this player coming from a wide position. He can play as an inverted winger or he can play as an inside forward. 12, 14, and 16 for the necessary attributes to be an inside forward. That's fine. We got Galeno on the right side. He is also not bad. He's got he's okay. His finishing composure is pretty average. He's okay. I mean, we want to look at him in the long run, but he's got lots of acceleration. He can get past players. He's more like an inverted winger. I don't expect him to come inside to score a lot of goals, but he can probably create some passing vision and decisions. Not that good. Then we got Otavio here. He can play passing, vision, decisions, fly. He can be a Mazzala. He can be a box-to-box midfielder. He can be attacking playmaker from the center. He's got the trait, tries killer balls. We got Uribe, again, another box-to-box midfielder, pretty aggressive. We can actually use him as a ball-winning midfielder in this setup. So I'm just going to change him. I think he makes for a very good ball-winning midfielder who will probably be dangerous as he comes into the final third. And then here we've got DM. I think we've got several players who can play as DMs in this position. All we got to do now, We've created a tactic. We have players that can fit into the system. Let's look at the youth team as well. Now we want to take in our youth team. We want to focus on the under 22. So in order to do that, what we'll do is we'll come to staff responsibilities, go to training, and then take responsibility of the under 20s. So here we'll take control of the under 19s. We'll leave the general training for the B team and the under 23s to the staff. We'll just look at the under 19s. Now looking at the under 19s tactic overview, we can come in here, load a tactic for the under 23s and use the same tactic, or we can set them up with a different tactic. But here, what we're going to do is want to see what kind of players we have. So looking at this team, they've got goalkeepers, Diego Fernandez. There's going to be a lot of work to do with this team. So we're going to develop them slowly. I want them in the long run, whenever I'm doing a training save like this, I like to follow the Ajax methodology, which is to make sure that everyone is playing the same system, the same style across the board. So from our youth team to our senior team, everybody is playing the same system. So what we're going to come in and do here is make sure they're playing the same tactic. So we've got the red machine. Okay, so it's now this is a bit different from the main team, but it's the same formation. We'll just turn this into a wing back. This was a ball-winning midfielder. Okay, so it's almost the same system. We'll use a pressing forward and support or pressing forward attack. Okay, and I'll drop the mentality down to balance. And then we go back in here. And then that's the tactic they'll be using. So these are the players that we have in our team. So we're going to come in here straight away and I'm going to start training them. So this guy can be a goalkeeper. Looking at his attributes, this becomes a youth development save. When you're doing a youth development save, you want to focus on the easiest way to do a youth development save. The easiest way I found to do youth development save is essentially go in there and just give them the same roles that you expect them to play in the tactic. So you got Bernardo Ramirez, stamina. He definitely has to work a lot on his stamina and his strength. So he's on endurance. We'll leave him there. You can, of course, set up the training and then go and leave everything else to the ass man. Here we've got a defender. So let's look at the defenders that we have. You got Bernardo Ferreira. His height is 1.81. Not very good. Then we've got Sulemi Jalo, another player, 185, maybe slightly better. And then you got João Pereira. He's 1.78. So we don't really have a lot of tall players in this team. 1.86. Vasco de Santos, 1.78. So the defenders in this team are quite weak. So we're going to train him as a central defender on defense. We don't want to train them in too many attributes. Yeah. So we got one more player here. We'll train him as a defensive midfielder in this position. Okay, so we'll get him to play as a DM on defense. And here he's got a lot of work to do. I mean, he's got concentration, he's got off the ball positioning, tackling, work rate. We actually, big part of it, this team, if I'm looking at this team, a lot of them have got work rate issues, right? So we got Vasco de Santos, his work rate is only 5. Amadou Kamara, his work rate is only 7. Here's work rate is only 9. So across the board, we've got work rate issues with this team. Of course, it's another way of doing this. You can just put out all the attributes and have a look, but you know, I want to have the small personal touch here. Okay, so we've come in here, we've got another MC. So we've got ball-winning midfielder and an attacking playmaker. Here, passing, vision, decisions. Let's look at the coach report and see what they think. Stuart Better should become more consistent, very one-footed, benefits, possesses, has a decent personality. What we're going to do with him is we're going to train him to be a center mid on attack for now and get him to improve his attributes slowly over time. Here, Rafael Silva, again, has a bit of aggression. I mean, not a lot. For the youth team is okay. Vision, he's got passing, vision. This player should be the playmaker, right? So Rafael Silva has got passing and vision. So we'll train him to be the playmaker. So he becomes the playmaker and this guy becomes the ball-winning midfielder. Okay. All right. Then we've got João Pedra. He's got acceleration, crossing, dribbling, some finishing and composure. And let's take a look at he's very strong right foot. So we'll get him to be he'll be playing on the right side. Okay. And we will train him to be an inside forward on attack. And we'll get him towards agility. That's fine. Fabio Amaral, agility is good. I like to train players to work on the agility. He has right foot and also very strong left foot. Now, João Pedro probably is not going to improve. I mean, Fabio Amaral is probably not going to improve very much in the long run. Okay, what we'll do with this player is he can play here and he can play here. In one case, I don't want both of them to end up as inside forwards. He can actually play as a very good inside forward. He's already got the attributes to play in this position. So training will come in here on the left again. Now we got two players who are going to be playing on the left. On the left, inside forward on attack. Okay, so you work there. So now we've got two players that can play in this position. Now we'll look for another player who can play, who's got a left foot at least. He's very weak left foot. So we only have one other player. Okay, we're gonna retrain him. Oh, this guy is gonna be too expensive. What we're gonna do with João Pedro is retrain him. Okay, so I'm gonna retrain to play on this side and then start developing his weaker foot. Inside forward, we're gonna play him on the right side. So we're gonna push him to the right. He's gonna start playing in that position. So now this is gonna be interesting because we're gonna have to make sure he plays in that position all the time. So Fabio Amaral and João Pedro. So João Pedro moves to the right. He plays here. And then we got the rest of the players. So here we got central defender. Defend. This player will train as a DM. Okay, so he'll be training as a DM in the system. And then we've got João Carvalho. We'll train him to be a pressing forward. Actually, we can train. He can work as a poacher or a pressing forward. Just get him to work as a pressing forward straight away. Then we've got Nuno Freitas, central defender. Looking at these players, right, I don't think a lot of them are going to develop unless they're mentored because their personality is only maybe for Diego Trindade. He might have a chance. But some of these other players, they need to be mentored. Otherwise, they're going to have, they're not going to, I don't think they're going to develop very much. We got Diego Campas, CM on support. We'll train him as a ball-winning midfielder. Yeah, we'll just train as a box-to-box midfielder. And then we got one more here. We'll train him as a pressing forward. To follow our system at the moment. Then we got João Pereira. We'll train him to be a fullback. Attack. Okay. So, all right. So we've got most of them set up. Okay. The other thing that we want to do now, we've got a tactics overview. So we've got these players all set up. Right. So this is all done. I will set this tactic on. I will remove the counter press for now. Stop crosses. So this is the tactic that they're going to be playing. So how do we get the senior team and the youth team to use two different tactics? It's got to do with staff responsibilities, and you only need to do it once when you are giving them the tactic. So here I'm going to delegate everything. So you need to delegate everything, confirm, go to the development center. You can see here now, when you go to the under 23s, you have a choice of giving them a tactic. So we can choose to give them the youth tactic. You can do this for all the teams. So here we're giving them to the youth team, and then here in the Porto B team, here we've got them on the senior. We'll set them to the youth team. So all of them are now using the youth tactic. All I got to do then next is come into staff responsibilities, training, and take over training. So I'm interested in the youth team and the under 23 team, but I'm not interested in the B team. So we'll stop this. Once you come in here, you will see in the overview that all of them are now using your tactic that you've set up for the under 19s and for the the youth teams. And if you want now to change this tactic, or maybe you want to change the team instructions right now, youth team are doing counter pressing, maybe I'm not ready for them to start doing counter pressing. All I gotta do is go to the tactic that I set up here, remove counter press. Is removed. You will notice that the tactic here with the youth team has also got counter press removed. So it's quite kind of easy. So whenever I want to make certain changes to my tactic, like maybe I want them to play something different, you can even change the roles and duties in your 4-3-3 and it'll be reflected as well. So it's one really easy way to set up a system where the youth team is using one tactic and the senior team is using something different. All right. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to just set up the training schedules for the senior team and the youth team. Okay. So we're going to import two schedules. We're going to import a youth schedule and our senior schedule. Now, the thing is, I'm going to have to keep a very close eye on the youth schedule because I don't want them to get injured. I don't want them to be overtraining. If I find that they are playing 2 games a week, then we're going to lighten the training schedule as well. And we're going to watch the load for the youth players. So we're going to now come inside here, go to the calendar for the main team. We're going to leave preseason alone. And then this is the first game. We're going to look for the first game of the season. The first game of the season against Portimonense. Set up a training schedule all the way until the first game of the season, right? So this, I consider this the first game of the season. Whatever the name of the club is. Okay. So this is the first game. So we're gonna come in here and put complete training schedule here. Copy. This is a Wednesday and Saturday game. So they play a lot of Wednesday and Saturday games. So we're gonna come in here, import the schedule for Wednesday and Saturday. All right. So we're also gonna have a Wednesday and Saturday game. So I'm just gonna come in here, put Wednesday and Saturday. There's another one here. Wednesday and Saturday. And then we come in here and just put in the complete training schedule. And then we'll just have another Wednesday and Saturday here. And the complete training schedule. And we'll just do this for the whole season. Naturally, I'm going to adjust this when there's matches that land midweek. Actually, when I'm looking at the youth team, there's not a lot to change. In fact, honestly, I do kind of like the default youth training schedules that the ASMAN uses. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just change it slightly. So we got preseason light here. And then we got youth possession here. So what I'm going to do is just going to come in here and use the BTN youth schedules. So I've also gone in and done the youth training schedules. Now, once again, I just leave preseason alone. And then I'll just go in and stick my own schedules in. So we've got making sure that the boys do get rest, right? This is kind of heavy. So we definitely want to pay attention to how the players are developing. Right? We don't want to have too many injuries. So what we're also going to do in training is come down to rest and do double intensity here and automate the whole thing. Right? So everything is automated. Come in aside here, training. You can do the same thing here. Training and then go to rest here as well. Double intensity here. Make sure the youth ones are set up as well. This is done. And so we're done. Now we go into units. Now you can actually make sure that you have the right players and the right units. This is for mentoring purposes. So far, everything is done. So we set it up. Now, the only thing left for us to do is go and find our coaches, right? That's the last thing. So we've got 5 coaches to go and hire. I want to hire the right coaches that defending technical, and we want to. Now the last thing that's left to do is to go hire the coaches. Remember that we have to get defending, attacking, and possession coaches. First things we're gonna do defending. I want to find play coaches as well. I mean, it's good to have them knowing your preferred system, although I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference in the long run. So we've got one defending standard. This doesn't matter to me, but we've got coaches who are interested in coming. Pick coach. Included realistic appointments for the first team, right? So we're just gonna look at realistic appointments for the first team, and let's look for coaches. Got the coach defending Continental Pro license. I'm not even looking at attributes at the moment. Yeah. So we got 1433 DM White, Laurent Fournier. He's a coach. So if you wanted to play the game via attributes, you'd be looking at determination, defending, discipline, motivating, and determination, right? So these are the main ones that you're going to focus on. So defending, discipline, motivation, determination. Let's just put it at that value 13. So these will be the coaches. These are, so the best coach is probably going to be this guy. It doesn't matter if he plays the 4-2-3-1. So we approach to sign this coach. He wants a lot of money. Okay, we got one coach. So that's a defending coach. We'll try and get another defending coach as well. Coach for the attacking team. So the things that we have to do at the start, make sure that we set up the tactics for the youth team and the senior team, set up the training schedules for the youth team and the senior team, set up the loan structures for the youth team and the senior team, determine whether we need new coaches for the youth team. For the senior team. The youth team, I'm not going to focus on the youth team until next season when the contracts expire. Then we've got to set up the training for the youth team, individual training for the youth team and the senior team. And yes, that is basically all the work that you have to do right at the start. So we've done all of that. Now all we got to do is play the game. And to find out how our players develop, that will be the focus of the next show. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It covers the basics, how we set things up. And on future shows, we're going to see how they develop. And then what we need to do during games to make sure that they're developing the right direction. We'll pick a couple of players that we like. We'll turn them into our favorite players. We'll start tracking them as well to see how they've developed. In the end, maybe the long-term goal will be to try and win the Champions League with completely homegrown players from Porto. Hope you enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions, drop them below in the comments and I'll try and get back to you. Meanwhile, you guys stay safe, take care of each other. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.